Why did I create mindful body dance? That's a good question. I think it was mainly down to the fact that I was getting older, and a lot of other forms of exercise just weren't hitting the spot, or they were creating injury, and they just didn't feel very good. So I sort of had to go back to the drawing board because I didn't want to give up on the idea of movement to music. And after a lot of research, I figured out that dancing for me, as I was approaching middle age, would mean dancing from a center point. So that's a twofold thing. I learned about core musculature when I was a Pilates student, so that's one of its foundations. The core musculature is sort of the trunk of the body. Really powerful set of muscles that keep us moving really strongly and with stability. But I was also looking for a little bit more than just working through the core. I was looking for something that is really at the heart of me, and that's the other part of working from center. So it's like coming into your own heart, if you like, your own heart space, if you're a yoga fan, and figuring out, how does that feel, and how do I want to feel? And, is it healing, or is this hurting me, this particular movement? So from there, you've asked the questions, and then it's figuring out how to adjust and modify movement so that it genuinely is healing us, and not just, going through the motions. So it's physically healing us, mentally, spiritually healing us, but also giving us a chance to express who it is that we are. So I've taken inspiration from many dance and music genres from across the world, from across the eras, anything that makes people feel joyful, really. That's the feeling that I'm going for as the teacher, but also as my own student, because I'm always learning. Does this bring me joy? And more than that, innocent joy, I think. Really important. So you'll find the basic steps like skipping, for example, skipping in a circle will crop up throughout. Yeah, so it takes a lot for me to actually get up and exercise. So it's the inspiration for me is in the music. Once I hear the first bars of those special tunes that I've chosen, it can get me out of any sort of resistance to exercise, and just hit the dance floor, be present, ground the feet, be present in your center, start to breathe, connect with the music, and let it take you on the journey, really. It's awesome. Highly recommend it. The mind-body connection became increasingly important to me as I was dancing about for myself, not just in the teaching of people. And I'd heard a lot about this mind-body connection, and I wasn't entirely sure what it was, but I sort of looked into it, and by definition, it's creating more of a whole system between the mind sort of at the top of the body and then the body, which is grounded itself. They can often become sort of disconnected, split off, a little bit separate. The mind goes into its chatter, and we can forget how it is to be in our body, to be present and to be healthy there. So the motivation behind all of that, of course, because some people may say, well, I quite like to keep my mind and body separated, thank you very much. The motivation for me was that it helps me to avoid the feeling of pain in my body. So, for example, I would wake up one morning and think, my shoulder is really hurting today. Didn't know why. But now, because I can sort of tune in as I'm going through my movement, daily movement, never mind dancing, it means that I can sort of tune in to the stages before the presentation of the actual pain. So, yeah, it's about figuring out what works for you, what heals, and what hurts. Spreading the word of my classes has always been through word of mouth, through women who've come to my class and told their friends about it, really. Yes. So, because it's not easy to explain the beauty of it and the joy of it unless you've actually been through it yourself or someone close to you has recommended it. So yes, to keep that going, I would love for the women who come to keep telling their friends, to keep spreading that word, spreading the joy, and reminding their friends and their sisters and their mums that dancing is for everyone. It doesn't matter how old we are, what our infirmities might be, we can still move to music. We can always move to music, even if it's just tapping our toes or raising our eyebrows.